Take a look at the cover of the typically Trump-friendly New York Post today. Quote, President Trump, this is a dictator. It's the latest in what has become a steady drumbeat of rebukes and pushback to Donald Trump's Earth 2 rhetoric that it's Ukraine's president who is the dictator and that somehow Ukraine is responsible for Vladimir Putin's brutal invasion of the country of Ukraine. It comes after another Murdoch-owned media outlet, the Wall Street Journal, this week warned of Donald Trump's, quote, sellout of Ukraine. And it's not just the Murdoch media empire that's finding itself at odds all of a sudden. The leader of the GOP, here's GOP Senator Thom Tillis yesterday.
Whoever believes that there is any space for Vladimir Putin in the future of a stable globe better go to Ukraine, they better go to Europe, they better invest the time to understand that this man is a cancer and the greatest threat to democracy in my lifetime. When I tell you that Vladimir Putin is a liar, a murderer, and a man responsible for ordering the systematic torture, kidnapping, and rape of innocent civilians, believe me, because the evidence is mile high.
We're back with Tim, John, and the Rev. John Heilemann, again, embers, right? Embers.
Embers. And, you know, in the case of Senator Tillis, he's someone who we have our eye on, right? He's a person who clearly knows better, knows, you know, his private views are probably, with respect to Trump, not that far from yours. But, you know, he's running for re-election in 2 years. The concerns he has about a primary have kept him totally on the Trump reservation when it comes to votes that people thought they might be able to get from him in opposition to some of the various horsemen of the apocalypse who got confirmed in the Gabbard, Patel, et cetera, wing of the cabinet appointments. And then he gives that speech yesterday, which is a really fiery speech, really impressive, Nicole. He's saying all the right things about Vladimir Putin. Can somebody please play me the clip where he uses Donald Trump's name and says that Donald Trump is wrong for pursuing the policy that he's pursuing? That's the logical extension of his views about Vladimir Putin. Senator Tillis is trying to have it both ways here. He's trying to get credit from us for being strong against Putin and strong for Zelensky, but he's not willing to take the next step, which is to draw the logical conclusion, the logical inference, which is Donald Trump holds the opposite views of me on this, and this is why Donald Trump is wrong. When he starts to cross that Rubicon, I will start to give him more credit for political courage.
I mean, Tim Miller, this shouldn't even be news, right? Like, it shouldn't even be news that the New York Post can say that Putin's a dictator and put it on the cover. That one Republican, to Heilemann's point, can go to the floor, and I believe that's Bucha. Bucha is where Russia carried out such heinous war crimes and atrocities against civilians that that national security officials, you know, were emotional talking about it. I mean, people couldn't even talk about what they'd seen and what had happened. It happened, I think, the first month after the embarrassment of Russia's botched attempted caravan to Kyiv. And the reality is that if we proceed with our capitulation to Vladimir Putin, the whole country could risk turning into Bucha. And that will be on America's hands. That will be because of who we voted for president. And that will be on Thom Tillis's hands, because instead of walking down to the White House and refusing to leave until Donald Trump talked to him, he did what John Heilemann just said. He gave a speech that didn't say Trump's name.
Yeah, nice speech, Tom. But he had a chance to do something about this over the past few weeks during the confirmation hearings. Tom Tillis indicated to some people, at least privately, it was leaked out into stories, that he had some doubts about Pete Hegseth. Didn't really show that publicly. Voted to confirm Pete Hegseth. Voted to confirm Tulsi Gabbard. Voted to confirm Marco Rubio, who you might think that is aligned with him when it comes to Putin, but we didn't see a ton of evidence of that during his bilateral meeting with Lavrov last week. I mean, look, we don't exactly know how all this stuff is going to shake out. All I can do is tell you what they said. And Marco Rubio comes out of that meeting with Lavrov and so this isn't Trump, by the way. This is the Secretary of the State, the supposedly normal one, the one that got bipartisan confirmation. He's like, our deal with Putin is that we are going to, have economic agreement again, that we're going to reopen economic activity, and that will be good for both sides. I was like, really? What what good does it do us to take sanctions off Russia or to, do more trade with Russia? It doesn't. Go into your house and see how many made in Russia items you have. Not a lot. The Russia is not really key to our economy. Us taking sanctions off them would be absolutely huge for Putin, though, a massive gift to him. And so it's unclear to me what we are getting out of this deal. Even if you look at it through the Trumpian realist sense of U.S. needs to get ours, I don't know what we're getting from Russia. I guess he thinks he wants to get the rare earth minerals from Ukraine, so he might rob Ukraine. And so, this Thom Tillis thing, it's like great speech, but you have a chance to do something. There will be budget votes. There were votes on these confirmations. You failed to date. If you actually care about Ukraine, if you actually believe that Vladimir Putin is a killer and a threat who must be stopped, then you're going to have to stop Donald Trump from continuing to capitulate to him. And otherwise, all you're doing is just kind of disingenuously ranting in our face, and that actually makes it worse for me.